Lights down low, the credits start to fade. Get ready for the cinematic parade. Got your hosts right here, yeah, Ned and Joe. We're gonna drag you to the movies.
Welcome to the Drag Me to the Movies podcast. I'm Ned.
And I'm Joe.
In this episode, we're going to go and discuss a little bit of a movie some may know as The Prestige, which is from 2006. It was directed by Christopher Nolan and stars Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Caine, Piper Perabo, Rebecca Hall, David Bowie, and Andy Serkis. So, Joe, what did you think of The Prestige?
Well, so let me ask if this was just your attempt at a joke or if there's something to it. When you say some people know it as The Prestige, is there something behind that, or was that you?
It's magical, man. It could be whatever it wants to be.
Oh, it's the Prestige.
Yes.
The end of the trick. Yeah. So I didn't know. I didn't have any expectations for this film coming in. I had no idea what it was about. In fact,
Good.
I don't know why, but the word prestige for me almost felt like it was supposed to be like a cop movie of some type. Don't ask me why, but that's the picture my brain painted for me.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah, I was drastically wrong.
Okay.
So imagine my surprise when, it starts off with magic tricks and I'm like, well, okay, what's going on here? But yeah, I just this film captures a lot of things that I tend to like in films. And let me explain that a little bit. So
Sure.
one of the things I appreciate, and I'm going to struggle to think of examples, and if they pop into my mind as we go on, I'll blurt them out. But I enjoy films that have that runaround type theme, and that you really don't know like what's going on or who has the upper hand
aspect.
Right. There's that. But I also like when films introduce like real life people and events into a story, but in fictional ways. So, for instance, with like Tesla in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was kind of a neat thing, right? Like they could have easily said like, oh, it's some scientist that's in the Alps or whatever, like play it that way. But the fact that they're like, oh no, it's Nikola Tesla, and he's doing secret electrical experiments because he doesn't want his stuff sabotaged or stolen or whatever. So like I always kind of like films that do that, like interject a little bit of actual people into a fictional story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think it kind of like with a lot of Nolan stuff, he does try to keep things kind of grounded, and by including Tesla, kind of gives you the feel like, oh well, this is somewhat on a real level. Like he involves someone from history in there, so kind of just that kind of vibe for me.
Okay, cool. And I do love the choice of casting David Bowie as Tesla as well.
Yes, there's
I thought he looked the part really well and played it really well.
Nolan actually, like, initially Bowie had turned it down, but Christopher Nolan personally flew out to New York to pitch the role to him, and he accepted. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, almost didn't happen apparently.
Must have felt pretty good about him, or pretty strongly about David Bowie playing the part, which like I said, it was a good choice. I mean, what else is not to like about this? You got some heavy hitting actors in this. You got Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson. It's a lot of hard hitters, and they share a lot of the screen time as well. Which is pretty cool to see. These are all. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to call out, like, based on today's standards, they're hard hitting. Back 2006,
they may not have been.
I don't like. I feel like, okay, let's look. Hugh Jackman, he primarily really wasn't known until X-Men, right? So that was 2000. Right. So 6 years prior to this. Christian Bale, I mean, I knew him because I watched a lot of movies, but it was just the year before this that Batman Begins came out.
Yeah. Well, so I figure he probably would have got his up and comings with American Psycho. Probably was That's
For
at least
some people,
that's
but
the
I
first
don't
for
know.
me.
Yes, I agree with that, but I don't think like on a national international scale,
Okay,
he
yeah, that's
was as
fair.
big. Like I think he
And
was
I'm
known
looking.
as a good actor, but maybe not what they are today. Just
Okay,
to throw that out there.
and I'm checking out Scarlett Johansson's too to see what she
No,
was
she
in
was
prior to
around.
that.
Like
But
she did a lot of children acting. Like she was, I think, Home Alone 3 and stuff like that.
yeah, she was. I was just looking to see if she was in anything like huge before that, but I don't see much of anything. So maybe this was more of a
Perfect Score was another one she was in.
yeah. Well, Michael Caine for sure has been
Oh
around
yeah, oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and well known. So
I just wanted to
everybody
kind
knows
of
Michael Caine.
reframe that a little bit, just so you
Yeah, no, that's fair.
have that
Did you like when
understanding.
Michael Caine there?
Yeah, Michael
Awesome.
Caine.
Michael Caine. Not a lot of people know that. Anyway, so yeah, so anyway, back to my review. Yeah, a lot of hard hitting actors that I are hard hitting now.
Hmm.
Even Andy Serkis, right? Small part he plays. He probably was a lot less known than I would imagine, right? Or no, I guess Lord of the Rings was before
It was kind of in the
this.
mix of all this.
Okay, but even
Um,
then, I don't know how many people knew Andy Serkis from Lord of the Rings.
no, because the
Uh,
Golem was not
right, because
him.
he was just the voice in the character actor, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of well put together actors in this film, that really helps drive the story as well. The idea, I don't know, Ned, what your history is with magic, but like we are roughly the same age. I like to think that we kind of grew up in kind of the mainstreaming, how do I want to say this? When magic started to become more mainstream,
Are
at
you
least pop
talking
culturally
like
wise.
David Copperfield and
Yeah,
like people like
like
that?
there's a lot of like on Fox or ABC, like this big thing of like, oh, David Copperfield's gonna have the Statue of Liberty disappear, or
Hmm.
this is gonna happen or something. Like there was a lot of that in our childhood growing up. Would you agree with that?
I don't know if I would just say a lot, but yes, there was definitely stuff that was a little bit more publicized. But I also feel that that's partially due to media and marketing and stuff like that that was available.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying that magic was like at its forte then.
Hmm. No, yeah,
I think it became more mainstream around that time because it got a lot more airtime, I
right.
suppose. But again, this is from my little window that I'm staring out of, right? So but anyway, I due to where I was going with that, I have kind of a fondness for magic. I always kind of have. So even when they had like the shows on where like there was that masked guy who was teaching how the
Hmm.
magic tricks happened, like
Right.
that was super cool. And one thing I need to watch, side tangent, is that whole Penn and Teller show that's on, where people try to stump them. Like that interests me. I
Mm,
just never watched it.
yeah, I haven't seen
So
that either.
anyway, that's my credentials for liking magic. So I was pretty happy
Oh,
to
you weren't a little
see.
magician yourself?
I tried. So man, I don't know, maybe like 9 years old, 10 years old. I think for either a birthday or Christmas, I got a little magic kit,
Nice.
and I couldn't do much of many of the tricks other than like the little foam balls in the cup, and like you would have the foam ball move up the cups, and it was
Don't
never at
give
the
away the
bottom of the cup.
trick.
I don't
Don't give it
remember how it
away.
works, so I
Okay. All
couldn't
right.
possibly. But yeah, so I always enjoyed magic. And in fact, I always kind of wanted to, even as an adult, maybe this will spark that again. Just kind
Okay.
of learn how to do some sleight of hand and stuff like that. I
Right.
always thought that
Yeah.
was neat. But so anyway, I was pretty happy to find out there's a magic based film, or performative magic based film. And I liked how it kind of pulls the curtain back for us that are not super knowledgeable on how magic works, and that's how you kind of understand how there's the setup, and I forget all the steps, but then ultimately the prestige,
The
right? Like the
pledge, the
payoff.
turn, and the prestige.
Right. All right, I'm glad you took this notes.
Yep.
So yeah, so it was kind of neat to learn that, right? And I did some research afterwards as well, and like there's a lot of talks of like magicians wanting to know how the other one did their trick, and how did they do the prestige, and a lot of magicians did indeed use like decoding
Hmm.
journals hide how they did things.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of competitiveness and like, I want to one up them. So how do I learn how to do this trick? And in fact, when people would retire as well, they would sell the rights to a trick to another magician, so that they could kind of take that trick on and, and let it live in infamy, I guess. But, so, all the stuff that they talk about as far as that goes, seems like it was legit, historically. So that was kind of cool to see as well. So yeah, so there's a lot there about magic and and getting to understand, kind of the setup for the magic tricks. You also get to see how some of the magic gets pulled off with trap doors, with like little sliding windows in the water tanks that you can unlock yourself and get out. There's the fact that like there's somebody off stage like Michael Caine running a timer to make sure nobody drowns, even though they did still
Mhm.
drown. There's a lot there, right?
Right.
And so like it was just kind of cool. Again, I know I'm gonna beat this point home, but it's just, I enjoyed the fact that they kind of show like the nitty grittiness of magic, right?
Mhm.
So that's great. The acting and the story that is portrayed through the acting is really well done as well. Kind of I guess the crescendo that starts the conflict between Borden and Angier, with Borden wanting to kind of always one up how things go, and him wanting to use that new knot type with Angier's wife,
Right.
and that
Which she also
ultimately killing
encouraged.
her. She did, right, right, because she was also kind of a little bit of a adrenaline junkie, I guess, in a way, right? And so that ultimately leading to the death of Andrew's wife, and that kind of, well, not kind of that leading to the discord between Borden and Angier really sets up like a cool, good guy, bad guy. Although I'd argue that they're both bad guys in this film.
Yes, they
It's
both have choices they've made that have led to them kind of being not the best
right.
guys.
Right, you have Angier shooting Borden's fingers off, because he was mad that Angier, or yeah, that Borden had learned a new trick with catching a bullet.
Mhm.
You have Borden removing the pillows or mattresses under the stage so that Angier falls and breaks his leg. You have Angier, kind of persuading Olivia to go steal Borden's magic tricks from him, even though Olivia had fallen for Angier. And then she ends up falling for Borden, and there's this whole love triangle thing that's going on. You've got Cutter, who's played by Michael Caine, kind of trying to keep the peace, and in a way, he's identifying that there's this new cutthroat environment with magic, and he wants to keep it the old school. uh like there's a set of rules that you live by as a magician,
Mhm.
and he's trying to get them to live by them, but both Angier and Borden are not, and they're trying to one up each other in the most diabolical ways, and Cutter is trying to keep the peace, but also encouraging them to, because when it comes down to it, he's also a magician. He wants to see magic reach new heights, but at the same time he wants it to be done in a, I guess, proper manner, right?
Right.
So that was kind of a cool, like, I guess, third perspective on what was going on at the time with the story. Uh, and then again, of course, like I said earlier, with the idea of bringing in real life, people. I love the idea of Angier hunting down Tesla to make his act even better. I'm not sure how yet I feel about the idea that Tesla was able to create duplication. As that being the payoff.
Mhm.
I do enjoy how they did it in the film, and how it plays into a lot of the misleading storylines and paths that happen in this film, that you don't know where you're going. And then I also love the nod to Borden also kind of having his own duplication in a way, even
Mhm.
though it's more of a Mother Nature route of having a twin brother. um
Yeah.
it's just Yeah, it's an interesting way to take it. I do like the parallels to it.
Hmm.
And I do like how I guess how kind of gross uh Angier takes it as well with him doing his act over and over. You kind of you see it like towards the end, right? When his warehouse is burning down and he's got basically just hundreds of tubs of his clones drowned
Right.
in water, right? His clone, and it's crazy to think. And it's really a ethical battle to think like,
Like he killed
you know,
himself
if
essentially
yeah, right,
too.
are you allowed to do that? Is that cool? Like,
Well, the original's gone then,
did the
right?
original? Well, I was gonna say, did the original make it? I don't believe he did. You know, like it's crazy to think like about that as well. So like, there's a
Yeah.
lot to this film,
Oh
like
yeah.
a lot of misdirection. There's a lot of deep storylines and morals and lessons to learn. And then there's also a lot of like, wow, what the hell? Like, this is crazy shit that's going
Hmm.
on as well. Like I don't know about you, but I looked this up too. I didn't realize the whole disappearing bird in the cage thing. They actually murdered the birds.
Yeah.
And that was true. That was how that worked.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So yeah, so there's a lot here. There's a lot here for sure.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, just like any other great film too, you have the love interest, like I said earlier, with Olivia kind of, you know, bouncing between the two. And really, when it comes down to it, neither of them really loved her. They used her more as a tool to progress themselves. Um, although I guess that's not true. One of the Bordens did love her.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess it's not completely true. And I guess it wasn't
Well,
really
and
a
that's
love
kind of
triangle. It
like,
was more of a love square.
well,
uh,
and then that's kind of like why Rebecca Hall's character is kind of like saying there's certain days I feel that you do love me, and then,
right.
this is not one of those days. Like,
Yep.
there's like so many layers to this movie. Like, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, so that's kind of to be expected, but at the same time,
Right.
I feel this one's not overly complex that you don't get lost in it in a bad
Right.
way. And it does definitely come off as a movie that I feel on rewatch, you notice things a little bit differently.
Yeah. So I do intend to rewatch this.
Okay,
Like
good.
I did enjoy it a lot, so I will be going back. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm looking through my notes here. I think I captured a lot of it. The music I thought was good. You know, it was dramatic when it needed to be. It was
Hmm.
light when it needed to be. Yeah, I thought it fit the feel of the film really well. I thought the film was shot really well as well.
Hmm.
You know, I do enjoy. I don't know. Like as the more we watch movies together, I'm starting to notice that like there are. I don't know what you would classify this as, so you can use the proper terms for me if you know them. But like there is a cinematic feel for films based on the decade that they're shot in. Not the decade that they're physically shot in, but the decade that they're portraying. So
Like an
where
era
I'm going
film,
with
like
this,
they're
yeah. So like with this taking place when it did, which I imagine would have probably been the late 1800s, early 19s. Is that true? I guess it would have been early 19s, right, with Tesla.
right.
Um, so with it taking place in that, a lot of the scenes that are shot, it's dark. It's like it's a little grainy, not grainy as in like the film quality, but like it's just that like I don't know, like it's hard to, it's there's a lot of like shadowing and a lot of like just not bright colors and stuff like that. Am I making sense with this, Ned? Because I'm trying to say
Yeah.
like a lot of times when I see films that are like, oh, this is the 19 whatevers, like it's a darker time because they're trying to, I don't know if they're trying to portray that there wasn't as many lights to light
I
things
mean,
up at
it's
the
true.
time
Like, that's
or
the whole reason why, like, Tesla and Edison, the light bulb has just kind of been made and populated
right.
across all the different
Right. Well,
regions.
Tesla donated the lights to that whole town
Right.
as a way of like letting him work there.
Right.
Yeah. So I do. Or I guess where I was going with that is I appreciate that that's kind of the feel they give this film.
A set piece. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So I just overall I feel like this film was really well put together. through all aspects. So that's pretty much my review. So I'm interested to see like what I missed that you picked up on, or if there's anything you add that I didn't.
Yeah. So I guess for me, the first thing I want to do is kind of ask you the question: did you know, or were you fooled?
I was fooled.
You were fooled. Okay.
I
good.
was, yeah.
I was hoping you would be like. That's the thing is like, at this time, I don't know if people would have recognized Christian Bale as Fallon as easily. Like, you know, me going in and watching it now, I'm like, oh, it's pretty obvious that was him. You know, even though like, you know, he does a good job of showing the side of him and, you know, just different angles where you don't really pay attention to Fallon nearly as much. But there's so many things in there that point at Fallon, like when I think it's Sarah is her name, Rebecca Hall. Yeah. When Sarah tells him that she's pregnant and about to have it, and he's like, "Oh, you should have told Fallon." Like the brother that probably is the father doesn't know.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Like there's stuff like that in here that is just kind of mind-boggling. Like even the part where Angier's asking Borden, like, "What knot did you tie?" Maybe it was the brother that didn't actually tie the knot, so he truly doesn't
I didn't
know.
even think of that.
Yeah, there's so many things like that in this that it's just like, oh my God. So yeah, I mean, that feeds into it. You know, you even have something as subtle as Alfred Borden and Robert Angier. Those initials together say Abra. So abracadabra.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't pick that up either.
And, you know, there was even with Alfred Borden, I think it was, I want to say Sarah called him Al, and Olivia was calling him Freddie. So Alfred, like they were kind of playing upon his name as well in certain things. But you also have the situation where the wives' deaths are mirrored into the significant other's deaths. So how Julia died by drowning, Angier had died multiple times by drowning, where you had Borden, his wife, hang herself. One of the Borden brothers gets hung at the end. So there's a lot of things around mirroring and kind of things playing off each other. It also is kind of interesting how like the relationship between Borden and Angier, you know, they started off as coworkers, like just having kind of subtle disagreements. Obviously, I feel like that gives you the different mindsets of them and sets up the characters and brings you in to know them and how they think. And like, even as they observe the one Asian magician who, you know, he puts on an act. His act is that he's weak and portrays it and lives it just so that his act and performance comes across to the audience and blows them away, which Borden obviously is really into because that's what he's doing with his brother. They're giving up the two lives to live one. So that I think was just kind of crazy that you get to the end of this movie and discover that. The first time I saw this, I was also in the same boat. Like I had noticed a few things, but yeah, it was definitely something I was like, oh my, he got me.
Yeah.
And I also kind of want to get into this a little bit. Cutter, Michael Caine. Do you feel that he knew Borden had a double the whole time? I know he was calling it for the act, but do you feel that he truly knew that he had a double or a twin brother throughout the movie?
I do. I do. And the reason I felt that way is when he turns Angier in, you know, like he's very like calm about the whole thing. Like he knows, like he I don't know, it just seems like he's very deadpan for if he would have just found out that, you know, his brother was still alive, or the brother got hung but the other one was still around, you know, to let him know. Like I feel like there would have been a little bit more emotion in him when he ultimately did turn him in. But that's I'm grasping at that point. What are your thoughts?
But based on my multiple views of this movie, I don't think he did. I think he had the correct suspicions, and that's kind of also why Angier probably just continued to doubt and not even consider it being an actual double. Which, you know, coming to the end of the movie where Borden shows up to get the little girl and take her away from Cutter, that's the part that kind of I try to analyze every time. I'm just like, does he really know, or is he just accepting that, oh, okay, I know now. Like, he's learning in that moment that, yes, you do have a double, you have a twin. That's how you're able to do it. Take your girl, leave. From what I've read online, that's the kind of general consensus, but there's always that question is like, could it have been? Like, he actually knew the entire time because he was working with them. They were all working together at one point.
Right.
So, yeah. Let me review my notes real quick here. Is there anything? Oh, like, I guess for me, they both are absolutely obsessed with magic. Now, there's different points of views on it. There's Borden's point of view where he really wants to do something new, something that just drops people's jaws on what he's able to do. Where Angier, he's more like, I just want to be there. I want people to celebrate me and what I was able to do and show them. And like, he really feeds off the audience. And that's either to, you know, for his hubris, ego, whatever it may be. He couldn't live with the fact that he was not the one on the stage when the people were cheering, that he is below stage for his trick. Which the way all that kind of came together and how Borden took over, and as you mentioned, he dropped below, broke his leg. Borden takes control and pops out in front of the people and talking about his performance across the street. Like, all that stuff and how it played out, I absolutely love. But just coming back to the fact that they both were rather shitty. They didn't treat their wives and girlfriends the way they should have, which ultimately led to a lot of problems elsewhere for them. And yeah, not great guys, but a great story and an entertaining one, to say the very least. But the sacrifices and dedications to their professions is almost sickening.
Yeah, it's very sickening. I wouldn't catch me doing that.
No. There's much more to life than just doing as much as they did.
Have you? So let me ask you this then. And since we're kind of on the same point, is there ever been a time where you you wanted to be the best of the best and recognized as such?
Me personally, no. I've always kind of been the person that I'd rather a team be rewarded. Like, I like to be the guy in the shadows that does things that I know helps people, but I don't need the recognition for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like the recognition of at least knowing that I'm putting, my best foot forward, and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily want to be the one like out front where people are like, "Oh, he's the best. We couldn't possibly do anything without him." Like,
right.
I don't look for that. I don't look for being, the recognized as the best of the best ever. Like, that's not where I want to be. I don't need that. I don't want that.
No. Yeah, I'm definitely like, I'm happy to hear when someone does enjoy something that I've done, like, whether it's someone commenting about the podcast and listening to it and enjoying it, or just, helping someone with other means. And like, I have friends that reach out to me sometimes and they need some help, so I help.
Right.
I don't expect to be rewarded or anything for that. It's I do what I can when I can.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really wouldn't be like that then.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are extremely competitive in the gaming world. Not really.
Indeed. Well, I think between each other we are.
Sometimes.
I feel like sometimes we want to, come out on top.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not cutting fingers off to stay on top of my game or anything like that.
I'm not going to shoot your index finger off so you can't click a mouse. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that was just, I couldn't believe how much they went into and sacrificed for that stuff. It's just kind of crazy to think that people have gone to that lengths before, which I'm sure on some level.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely a that point of human spirit that gets crushed so hard that you do whatever you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully I've never been there. And I hope that I don't, but
same.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm very happy to have heard that you enjoyed this one and it did fool you. And I do hope you go back and watch it again and you'll pick up on a lot of the things that really do clue you into what's going on.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I honestly do. Yeah, when I was done with that, if I would have had more time, I would have rewatched it again before we even did this review. But I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it.
Good. Very good. All right. So you want to get into scores?
Yeah, let's do that. So I ended up giving this movie a 4.5 out of 5. I just really enjoyed it. I loved, like I said, kind of the historicness of it. I liked the back and forth and the, not really knowing what's going on until it happens, and it's just just really well done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact that they even brought like real magician in to kind of help with things, and yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with this one. And obviously, it's Christopher Nolan, so I usually trust his movies, and we'll see with the Odyssey what comes for his career. But I'm excited
indeed.
either way.
I am looking forward to that.
So yeah, I also gave this a 4.5 out of 5. So
Nice.
it's definitely one that I enjoy. I don't go back and watch it every year, but I would say I would say 3 to 4 years is one I'll go back and watch this.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that being the same for me.
But yeah, nice. All right. So let's talk next recommendations. So I have 3 options for you.
Okay.
One is a Western. One is like a straight up kind of romantic comedy type movie.
Okay.
And the other is one that you mentioned wanting to see, which I don't know. I personally would not recommend it to you, but let's go with Unforgiven for the Western, High Fidelity for the comedy romance, and Hellraiser for the one I would not recommend to you.
All right. I think it's time for Hellraiser.
It's time for Hellraiser?
I think it's time for Hellraiser.
Okay.
I'm ready to be uncomfortable, Ned.
You surely will be. Now, of the Hellraisers, I do say the first one has a little bit more to it than where it chooses to go in the rest of the franchise. So hopefully that comes off and doesn't completely turn you away from it, but we'll find out regardless.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. Be sure to check us out on Threads and Facebook at To The Movies Pod. And also, we're on YouTube, where we prefer you to listen to us because you can interact with us in the comments. And that's at The Movies Pod. I also want to call out, we have a little website that Joe and I are working on with Warlock of Wi-Fi, who's been on the podcast a few times. And that's Film Jokers. You can see us review movies, talk about things movie adjacent, and just, basic opinions over there. So check out filmjokers.com. And thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for dragging me to this magical movie, Ned.
No problem. So happy you enjoyed it. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.